I thought buying native plants was simple until a genetic test revealed that most of the plants I purchased were not what their labels claimed. I bought 13 perennials, all of them labeled native, all of them from reputable nurseries. I took samples from every single one and sent them out for genetic analysis. 5 came back as what they claimed to be. 5 out of 13. The rest? Foreign cultivars, hybrid crosses with European or Asian parent plants. One was a completely different species from what the tag said, not a variety, not a cultivar, a different plant. And here is what I did not know when I bought them. You cannot always tell just by looking. The leaf shape might be right, the bloom time might match, but genetically, functionally, for the insects and ecosystem you are trying to support, they are not the same plant. I am not telling you this to frighten you without reason. I am telling you because once you have the information, you can make better choices. And right now, most gardeners do not have this information at the point of sale. Let's get into it. Plant number 1, Echinacea purpurea, purple coneflower. The tag said native. The plant had the classic pink-purple petals, the orange cone, the right height, looked exactly like what you'd see in a prairie. I sent a leaf sample in, came back as a hybrid cross. One parent was Echinacea purpurea, the other was Echinacea paradoxa, a yellow-flowered species from the Ozarks. This is common practice in the nursery industry. They cross species to get more vibrant color, stronger stems, longer bloom time, then they label it as the common parent species. Not technically illegal, but functionally misleading. Because here is what research from Doug Tallamy's lab has documented. Hybrid cultivars and nativars support fewer insect species than true native genotypes. In some trials, up to 70% fewer caterpillar species. That is the plant I am describing to you. It looks native. It is not serving the same ecological function. Plant number 2, Rudbeckia fulgida, black-eyed Susan, one of the most commonly sold native perennials in North America. Mine came back as Rudbeckia fulgida var, Sullivantii goldsturm. Now, goldsturm is a cultivar that was selected in Europe in the 1930s. It is technically derived from a North American native species, but it has been propagated vegetatively for 90 years. Every goldsturm plant is a genetic clone. Does it support pollinators? Yes. Some. Does it support the same diversity and abundance of specialist insects as a true wild type Rudbeckia fulgida from a local ecotype? No. And if you are buying natives specifically to support biodiversity, that gap matters. Plant number 3, Lobelia cardinalis, cardinal flower, brilliant red blooms, hummingbird magnet, tag said native. Genetic analysis showed this was likely grown from European seed stock. Lobelia cardinalis does exist in Europe. It was introduced there centuries ago and has been cultivated in European gardens ever since. Some of those lines have been selected for garden performance. Bigger flowers, stronger stems, better winter survival in cool climates. Then that European seed stock gets sold back to North American nurseries. It is still Lobelia cardinalis, but it is not the same population genetics as the plant that evolved here. Here is what nobody tells you at the point of sale. Native does not just mean the species is indigenous to the continent. It means the specific genetics of that plant reflect the adaptation of local populations. A Lobelia cardinalis grown from wild collected seed in Virginia is not the same as one grown from European garden stock, even if they are the same species. Plant number 4, Asclepias tuberosa, butterfly weed. This one came back clean. True species. No detectable hybrid markers, likely grown from North American seed stock. This is one of the 5 that verified as actually native. And here is what I did not know until I started digging into the sources. Some nurseries do maintain native seed programs. They collect from wild or naturalized populations. They keep records of provenance. They label accordingly. But most do not. Most source from large wholesale growers who source from wherever seed is cheapest and most available. You do not know what you are getting unless the nursery explicitly documents provenance. Plant number 5, Penstemon digitalis, beard tongue, white tubular flowers, tag said native. Came back as a cultivar called Husker Red. This is a selection made at the University of Nebraska for burgundy foliage. It is bred from Penstemon digitalis, but it has been selected for ornamental traits, not ecological function. I planted it anyway, years ago, before I knew the difference. I watched it for 3 seasons. Pollinators visited, but not consistently. Not the way they mobbed the wild-type Penstemon I planted later from a regional seed source. That is not anecdotal. Studies from the Mount Cuba Center and other native plant research organizations have documented this pattern across multiple species. Ornamental selections often show reduced insect visitation compared to wild-type plants. Plant number 6, Coreopsis verticillata, threadleaf Coreopsis. This one verified native, true species, one of the 5. Plant number 7, Aquilegia canadensis, eastern red columbine, came back as a hybrid. Genetic markers indicated European columbine parentage, likely Aquilegia vulgaris. This is incredibly common in the trade. Aquilegia species cross easily. Unless a grower is isolating their stock, you are likely getting hybrid seed. Does it matter? For hummingbirds, maybe not as much. For specialist mining bees that have co-evolved with Aquilegia canadensis, yes, it matters. Plant number 8, Solidago rugosa, rough-stemmed goldenrod, verified native. True species, 3 down, 2 to go. Plant number 9, Aster novae angliae, now labeled Symphyotrichum novae angliae, New England aster. The tag said native. Analysis showed this was a European cultivar called Purple Dome. Compact habit, heavy bloom, bred for garden performance, technically the same species, functionally different plant. I need you to stay with me on this one. When a plant is selected for compactness, for heavier flowering, for longer bloom time, the trade-off is often reduced insect support. The plant is putting energy into traits humans want, not traits that evolved to support ecological relationships. Plant number 10, Heuchera americana, American alumroot, came back as a hybrid coral bells. Genetic markers from Heuchera sanguinea, a species from the southwest, and possibly Asian species. This is one of the most hybridized genera in the nursery trade. True Heuchera americana is increasingly hard to find in commercial channels. Plant number 11, Pycnanthemum muticum, mountain mint, verified native, 4 down. Plant number 12, Monarda fistulosa, wild bergamot. Came back as Monarda fistulosa, but with markers suggesting it had been crossed with Monarda didyma at some point in its lineage, not a pure species. This happens frequently with Monarda. They hybridize readily. Plant number 13, Zizia aurea, golden alexanders, verified native, true species. That is 5 out of 13. So here is what all 5 that verified native have in common. They came from 3 specific nurseries, not the big box stores, not the general garden centers, 3 small regional nurseries that explicitly stated they grow from wild collected or regionally sourced seed stock. The 8 that did not verify, 6 came from big box stores, 2 came from a large mail order catalog that uses the word native liberally in their marketing. Now, I am not saying every plant from a big box store is mislabeled. I am saying you cannot assume the label is accurate without verification. And most gardeners do not have access to genetic testing. What I do now, instead, I ask specific questions before I buy. Where was the seed sourced? Is this a cultivar or a straight species? Is this plant propagated from local ecotypes? If the nursery cannot answer those questions, I do not buy it. Or I buy it knowing it is ornamental, not ecological. I also use resources from native plant societies. Many regional chapters maintain lists of nurseries that specialize in true native stock. The Wild Seed Project, Prairie Moon Nursery, regional Audubon chapters often have vetted lists. Once you have the information, the choice is yours. Maybe you want the gold sturm because it is reliable and it blooms heavily and you like how it looks. That is fine. Just know it is not the same as planting a wild-type Rudbeckia if your goal is ecosystem support. Here is what I want you to take from this. The word native on a plant tag is not regulated the way you think it is. There is no legal standard in most states. A nursery can call a plant native if it is derived from a native species, even if it has been heavily bred, even if it was grown from European stock. You have to do your own verification, or you have to buy from sources that do the verification for you. I will link to regional native plant societies and vetted nursery lists in the description. Those are starting points. And I want to know, what zone are you in? And have you found a reliable source for true native stock in your area? Drop it in the comments. That information helps everyone. If this is the kind of information you want before you buy plants, subscribe. This is exactly what gets covered here every week. I'll see you in the next one.